Hello everyone, welcome back to Placement Prep. Today we will discuss about the data structures in Python. For example, when we want to store more than one element in a variable, at that time we can use the data structure, that is list, tuple, dictionary or set. We will discuss everything one by one now. Starting with the list. For example, list can store anything, that is integer data type or float data type or string data type. For example, this is the list 1. Here we can store more than one element, that is 1, 2, 3. These are of integer data type. And this is the list 2. We can store more than one element having string data type. And the most important thing about the list is here we can store element having mixed data type. For example, that is we can store at a time integer, string and float. This is the difference between array of other programming languages like C, C++, Java and the list. Like in array, at a time we can either store integer or we can either store string or we can either store float. But at a time we can't store in an array integer, string and float. But here in the string, like in the list of Python, this is possible. Like at a time we can store elements having different data type. I hope you are clear about the difference between array of other programming languages and the list in Python. Now we will see how we can access the elements of a list. For example, here this is the list 1 having elements 1, 2 and 3 and we want to access the second element. So list element, like it is starting with the index 0, that is 1 it is in 0th index and 2 it is in 1st index and 3 it is in 2nd index. So if I want to access 2, so I will simply write print L1 of 1. So it will print 2. And if I want to access 1, 2 at a time, so here I can use the slicing method. So from where I want to start, that is the 0th index. So I will write 0 is to up to when I want to access up to 1th index. So I will write ending index plus 1, that is 2. 6, 1 and 2. If we are starting from the starting index, that is 0, there is no need of mentioning that one. We can simply write is to 2. That will also print the same. I hope you are clear. Now, the most important thing about list is lists are mutable in nature. That is, for example, in the list 1, the elements are 1, 2 and 3. And we want to change the first element, that is 1 to 10. So what we will write? We will simply write L1 of, it is 1, it is in which index? That is 0th index, that is 0. And what value we want to change? That is 10. Now print L1. See, the L1 it is changed from 1, 2, 3 to 10, 2, 3. But this is the difference between string and the list. Strings are immutable in nature. That is, in the string we can't change any element of the string. But in list we can change the element of a list. For example, in the string, for example, this is here. And I want to change the first element s small s to capital S. If I am writing s of 0 equal to capital S and I am printing the same, it will throw error, that is it doesn't support item assignment. And instead of doing this, if I am doing like that is s dot capitalize. See, here the small s it is changed to capital S, but it doesn't change the initial string, that is S. Print here, print S. See, the string S that is in the same thing, that is small s HADMA. But when we are doing is the capitalize, just comment this. See, when we are doing is the capitalize, it is just changing the small s into the capital S, but it is not changing the initial string, that is the small s. That is, it is not changing the initial variable. But in the list that is mutable in nature. So when we are making any change, it is getting reflected in the original variable. But in the string, it is not getting reflected. And when we are doing is the capitalize, it is not getting reflected when we are printing the initial string, that is the initial variable s. See, that is the same thing, that is small s. But when we are making any change in the variable, that is L1 of 0 equal to 10, and we are printing the same thing is getting reflected in the variable itself, like that is the original variable itself. See, earlier the variable was 1, 2 and 3, like 1, 2, 3 variables, like values are there in the list 1. Now after making, like after assigning the value, the values are 10, 2 and 3. These things are getting reflected in the original variable, that is L1. But when we are making any change in string, that is S equal to the string name and where is the capitalized. When we are making a change and we are printing the variable, the change, what changes we have made, that is not getting reflected. So like when we want to print the same, like S dot capitalized, we have to change the memory location, that is we have to store it in some other variable, for example K. And if I am printing here K, now the change will get reflected. See, here the print S, it is the same as it is, and in the K, what change we have done, that is getting reflected. But in the list, we can make the change in the original variable itself. I hope you are clear. That is, strings are immutable in nature and lists are mutable in nature. And in the next video onwards, we will discuss how we can add new element in a list, how we can delete element from the list, how we can how we can use for loop in a list, and so on. If you like this video, please do subscribe to Placement Grid. Thank you. Have a good day.